Hey guys, Sam from Manfa's Makes. How are you all? Welcome back to all my returners and hi to any newbies. It is so great to have you here. Please do stick around a while. And if you like what you see, give me a thumbie. They are free. So, the long awaited for reveal of what is going to replace hashtag Tile of the Week Thursday. Now, if you have been here a little while, you will know that for the last 2 years, yes, that is correct, for the last 2 years, I had a segment on this channel called hashtag Tile of the Week Thursday. It involved a book, it involved 100 tiles, and it involved me making a pledge that I was going to make all 100 tiles one a week until they were done. And if you were around last week, you will know that I completed the last and final 100th tile and that has finally finished. And I've also hinted for a little while now that I have another idea for Thursdays. Now, I still need to finalise a couple of details, but I do have the basics of the idea in my mind, and it is now time to reveal what I am going to be doing. So I hope this is an idea that you guys will get behind and support. It's not one that I think you will be able to join in with potentially, maybe. I don't know. I am not asking you to join along with me, just like I didn't ask you to join in with Tile of the Week. But I have created a mini mammoth segment for a Thursday because even though the tiles did cause pressure in the fact that I had to get it done every week, and some of the tiles were tricksy and a bit intricate and a little bit frustrating, I have kind of drawn from that experience and made a slightly similar thing for myself, but a little more manageable, hopefully. So what am I talking about? Well, it will involve squares. It will involve coming back week after week to do these squares, but I'm doing it in a very different way. And yeah, I took some inspiration from other podcasters who sometimes involve their family in decision making and having an input in maybe colour choices. And I thought, you know what, let's just bung it all together in a pot and see what I can come up with. Now, the first little component of this that got my little mind working was Mike did buy me something that took a little while longer to arrive than he initially thought. It was from my Amazon wish list. I am not sponsored or affiliated, but this is the second Thursday segment that something from Amazon has got me into some of these situations. So can you see a pattern emerging here, guys? Anyway, because it did take a little while longer from the occasion he bought it for me for, it meant that I had time to seriously consider what I was going to do with it when it arrived. And then when it did arrive, I was pondering and I was thinking, and it just, a lot of input and a lot of brainstorming has created this thing. So this is what Mike bought me. It is a bag with handles. It is from Amazon. Now this is not the best quality or a bag that I potentially would use out and about, but for at home and as a project bag, once I've emptied what's inside, it will be perfect. It is waterproof. Yes, and it does also have these eyelets on the top where you're supposed to feed yarn through. Now I won't be using it for that purpose, but it is the potential to be used like that. Now inside of this bag are 60 yes, 60 of these itty bitty, teeny weeny, tiny little bonbons of yarn in pretty much all the colours of the rainbow. And I thought, OMG, now that I've got them, what am I actually going to use them for? So that's what started the brain cogs whirring. So yes, 60, maybe even more. I may have counted wrong, but at least 60 of these little gems. Now, I will show you them while reading from the ball band of another. So, like I said, it's just these tiny, itty bitty, just the size of my ear, little bonbons of yarn. Now, these are Mira, I don't know how you would pronounce that, handcrafts, okay? They are 100% acrylic. They are a lightweight 3 or DK. They weigh 10 grams each, and there are 22 yards or 20 meters in each. They are made in China. You can wash up to 30 degrees Celsius. Do not tumble, do not iron, do not bleach. Dry clean using P. They recommend a 3.75 to a 4.5 millimeter needle, and they recommend a 4.5 to a 5.5 millimeter hook. And that is literally all that is on these tiny, tiny little yarn bands. They are just cuteness personified. So yes, 10 grams. There are no colours, but, you know, light pink, for example, matches the flamingos kind of on my sweater. So 100% acrylic. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys, these are not the nicest feeling bonbons in the world. They feel cheap, they feel nasty. So if you're thinking, oh, Manfa's going to enable me, unless you don't mind it being not the greatest quality of yarn, I potentially would look at other options. But I have these now, and I'm not going to be ungrateful, and I am going to put them to good use. Now, the other thing with these is there is a lot of boinginess, a lot of resistance, a lot of bounce back. And I have worked one of these up, so I do know what I'm talking about. Now, to start off with, I used a 4.5, but I really didn't like the tension with a 4.5 because of the bounce back resistance of this yarn. It's almost a little bit elastic, guys, not gonna lie. It was just really tight and it was curling and it just wasn't the look that I was going for. So I jumped up to the 5.5 because remember, it does recommend a 4.5 to a 5.5 millimeter hook. So I jumped up to a 5.5 and I was playing around with it, and I needed to find something that worked. So remember, 60-ish of them, all different colours of the rainbow. Now, like I said, I played around with a 4.5, didn't like the tension, and I couldn't make my granny square work with a 4.5. So like I said, I jumped up to a 5.5. I grabbed my 5.5 millimeter dots, this lilac-y purple one. Love this hook, just saying. And the colour that I actually played around with was a much deeper pink, a fuchsia-y pink, a magenta-y pink. I don't know what kind of pink, but pink. Just like the first one I grabbed was a baby pink. We all know Manfa loves pink. And this is what I eventually came up with. Now, this colour representation is slightly off. It is a little deeper than what my camera is showing. And as you can see, I haven't woven in any ends or anything like that because I was just playing. And I thought, now that I've played and I know what I'm going to do, I can come on and showcase it for this new segment. Now, even with the 5.5, the resistance on this square is incredible. It is like elastic. There's just no other way of describing it to you, and it really does feel yucky. It's not the nicest of yarn in the world at all. But like I said, I've got them now and I'm going to use them. Now, I have said so many times in the past that I love making granny squares. I'm not so keen on putting them together. So Manfa has decided to do granny squares. Yay! But she's also going to have to put them together. Boo. But that's the bit I haven't quite figured out yet, because I don't actually know what I'm going to be making. For a minute, I just know that I'm going to be making granny squares. Now, these are slightly different in the fact of I did 4 rounds of the traditional double crochet granny square. And that is US terminology, guys. I prefer US. So 4 rounds of the traditional granny square. I then still had a little bit of the yarn that I needed to use up, because I want to use as much of these little bonbons as I can. Still have plenty of yarn to weave in. And then every time one of these is made, I can claim the little label. So I didn't want a lot of wastage. So I did the 4 rounds of the traditional double crochet granny square. I then went around for a 5th time, but this time I did half double granny square clusters, so a little bit smaller than the doubles. And I still had some of the yarn that I needed to use. So I then went around a 6th time with a single crochet border, because I also thought that that would give it a nice little neat edge, so that when I do eventually sew these together into whatever they're going to be, that it will be a nice easy border to attach to another one if it has the border the same. So 4 rounds of double crochet granny clusters, a round of half double granny crochet clusters, and then a final border of single crochets in every stitch. And I did 1 single, chain 2, 1 single in the corners as well. So these are what I am going to be making. And you're thinking, oh Manfa, why are you going to come on every week and show us a boring old granny square? Well, there is a twist. There's got to be a twist. It is Manfa after all. So I thought, just like you maybe, oh, that's going to be a bit dull. But wait. There's more. Now I have to take you back in time to my childhood and tell you a story. So grab yourself a drink. It's only going to be a short story, but grab yourself a drink, put your hook down, and let me have story time with you. So when I was a young child living at home with my mum, my dad and my brother, living in the UK, it was always really cold, really wet, a combination of the two, especially in the fall and winter time. So we obviously needed multiple hats, multiple scarves, multiple pairs of gloves or mittens or whatever the case may be. And also my parents were very keen, shall we say, outdoorsy activity type people. Now, childhood Manfa and actually real life now in the moment adult Manfa isn't overly keen on walking, cycling, traversing long distances. But growing up, we were a family that didn't have a lot of expendable money. We were living pretty much hand to mouth. I wouldn't say we were poor or in poverty, but it was very much every penny was accounted for. So day trips, amusement parks, zoos, cinema, that sort of thing were only really a thing for birthdays or special occasions. So on the weekends, because my parents were and still are to a degree really hard-working, decent, honest people who have imparted a really strong work ethic in myself. They, between them, sometimes at some points had 2 to 3 jobs each, and Mondays to Fridays I didn't really see a lot of my mum and dad, and it actually fell to my maternal grandmother, my mum's mum, to drop me and my brother to school, to pick me and my brother up from school, to give us our evening meal, and then my parents would pick me up from my nan's and briefly catch up with us about our day and put us to bed. That was literally the only interaction really, Monday to Friday, that we got. Occasionally we saw my dad at breakfast time, but he did a lot of night working, so while we were having breakfast, that would be when we catch up with dad. And then obviously when we were taken to school by my nan, my dad would go to sleep for the day, ready for the next night shift. So there was a lot of limited kind of family time Monday to Friday with me and my parents. Very thankful that my nan stepped in and did a lot of the childcare for us, and that meant that I am now extremely close to my nan. My nan is still with us. She is in her 80s, and I have a lot of fond childhood memories, and I'm super close to her, which I am lucky and so very thankful for. Anyway, that meant that on a Saturday in particular and a Sunday in particular, Saturday was more of let's go and do the grocery shopping, let's go and do all the errands that need to be done to prepare for the next upcoming week or month if it was a monthly thing. Let's just get all of the chores and the errands done and dusted so that we could have a family day all together on the Sunday. And then on the Sunday, like I said, it would either be, you know, a walk across the moors, a bike ride. It was always get out in the fresh air, explore our local area. It didn't cost a lot of money. Sometimes we would have a picnic, but most of the time we would just fill our day with good, wholesome, outdoorsy, in the nature, fresh air, getting some good old-fashioned exercise. And then after whatever exercise activity we had done for the day, we would come home, we would have a nice warm bath, a lovely Sunday roast all together, and then a really nice quiet evening as a family, either watching some telly shows, watching a movie, doing some colouring, reading a book, doing a jigsaw puzzle, whatever it was. That's what we did for a couple of hours in the evening of our Sundays before we had another hectic week of mum and dad working 2-3 jobs apiece and me nan picking up the pieces and making sure me and my brother were okay. Anyway, all of that to say is because the UK weather is infamous for being on the chilly side, for being on the wet and miserable side, and being just weather-wise for the most part of the year. Like I said, we needed surplus hats, scarves, gloves, mittens, that kind of thing. And because we were a family of 4, that was a lot of, surplus hats, scarves, gloves, mittens, that sort of thing. So my mum and dad, and it makes me smile because it's the most random thing in the world, guys, but I have a real sentimental value over an inanimate object, which most people would think is bizarre. But then Manfa can be bizarre. But I really do have a little bit of sentimentality about this. Basically, it was a sort of tabletop, I mean, you didn't keep it on a tabletop, but a tabletop metal dustbin that was kept in our dining room, and inside of it were all the hats, scarves, gloves, etc. And that metal bin, us as a family nicknamed it and called it Gut, because another name for a stomach or a belly is your gut. And this bin was rammed full of all of those autumn winter clothing accessories. So it was just called Gut. Whenever I would say to my mum, have you seen, I don't know, my pink bobble hat? Go check Gut. It's probably in Gut. That's where those sorts of things live. We were stuffing the bin's gut full of all of our winter items. So Gut was a major part of my childhood because he kept all of the wintry items we needed to do these activities as a family on a Sunday. Now, my mum, bless her heart, Gut comes up in conversation once in a blue moon. We all remember him. We all have memories. And I'm talking about it as if it's an actual thing. It's an inanimate metal object. But it was a part of the family, strangely enough. And we always reminisced about good old Gut. So last Christmas, the Christmas just gone. Sorry, I keep fiddling with my eye. It's really itchy and watery. I do apologise. The Christmas just gone, I was presented with a wrapped up box. And my mum is notorious for giving us really thoughtful, meaningful presents, but also jokey, silly, nonsensical things sometimes. So I was opening up this Christmas present last Christmas, and inside she has bought me my version of Gut. Now, the original Gut was a silver metal colour. Mine is obviously a little bit more classy and black, but it is a metal dustbin complete with lid. And I just was blown away. I giggled my little heart out. I sat there cuddling it for 5 minutes. It was one of the best Christmas presents I had received in recent years. And it's a bloody metal bin. Honestly, you guys are probably thinking I have lost it and I've gone crazy. Anyway, that is the story from my childhood about a bin called Gut, and now I am the proud owner of my own Gut. And you're probably thinking, well, that's all very well and good, Manfa. Thank you for the lovely story and everything. But how is a bin related to this new Thursday segment? Well, as I said just now, I have taken inspiration from other podcasters, other content creators that get their family members involved in some of the crochet projects that they make. I have been speaking to my darling, gorgeous little Max, who is the most keen to support this YouTube channel and is the most interested in being a part of it. I spoke to him and I came to him with this idea that I'm about to share with you, and he was all for it. He loved that he could be a part of a brand new segment without actually having to appear on camera. So the idea is I am going to place Gut somewhere that is easily accessible to Max. And every week before Thursday comes along, when I need to film for the Thursday video, he is secretly going to get this bag of the baby little bonbons, and he is secretly going to pick a number of bonbons, and I haven't decided whether it's 1 a week, 2 a week, 3 a week, I don't know. He is going to pick random colours and random amounts of bonbons, and he is going to put them in Gut without me seeing, and then I am going to come back every Thursday, open Gut with you to see what Max has selected, and then hopefully, if there is enough time when I film, I will sit on camera chatting with you like my crochet and chats, and make these squares in live time on that video, so that every week you get to see the mystery colours of the bonbons, you get to see me make the squares in real time, and you will be a part of me making this for however long this segment is going to run. Now, I did try and do a little bit of maths to see how long I wanted this to run for. There are 20-something weeks of this year left, okay? So if I wanted it done by the end of the year, Max is going to have to select about 3 different coloured bonbons, or 3 bonbons the same, whatever. He is going to have to select 3 bonbons a week to put into Gut as a surprise for us to work on every week, if I want it done by the end of the year. If I want to stretch it out a little bit longer, he could pick 2 bonbons and it will be done at some point next year. Or I could just do 1 bonbon a week for the next over a year. I could be doing this for at least a year with you and a little bit. Now, I'm not sure if I want another segment that takes that long to complete. So I think I'm either going to go for the 2 bonbons a week or the 3 bonbons a week. You let me know down in the comments which you would prefer, whether you would want it to finish by the end of the year and move on to something else, or whether you would like it to stretch into the new year but not too much, and have this segment for a little while to enjoy. I also have to bear in mind the fact that not only am I going to have to reveal what bonbons Max has picked, but I'm actually going to have to sit and crochet them with you. So those videos could be slightly longer, but that's okay, because then that means you are getting a bit of a crochet and chat with me as well as this Thursday segment. Now, I am also considering calling this segment Max's Choice, because it is Max's choice. But if you have a better suggestion of a name for this segment, then again, please feel free to put it in the comment section, because I am always wanting to have your input, and sometimes you guys come up with belter ideas that I just want to take as my own. So if you want to get some inspiration in me, if you want to have some suggestions on what we're going to call this, and if you have an opinion on how long this new segment should run for, please do let me know. Also, be honest, guys, is this going to be a successful segment that you're going to want to tune in for week after week? Because I'm going to do it anyway. I'm not going to lie to you, but I do want to field what your opinion of it is. I just love the fact that it's getting my little Maxie involved without him having to be directly on camera. I love the fact that it incorporates my childhood sentimental metal bin. It uses up this bag of bonbons that Mike gifted me. And then, of course, as the weeks progress, maybe we could kind of brainstorm some ideas of what I'm going to do with these squares, because at the moment I am toying with the idea of maybe a draft excluder, a big long draft excluder that I can put at the bottom of my door to stop the draft coming in. Or I did toy with the idea of a pillow, but I wasn't expecting them to still come out this big. So I think there's going to be too many just for one pillow. It could be maybe a granny square bag. I don't really know if I want it to be a big old blanket, because it really isn't the softest, squishiest, comfiest of yarn. It's really rough. So you need to take on board all of those things. I'm thinking it needs to be something practical that isn't like close to your skin or for snuggly value. It needs to be more of a practical item. It is acrylic. If it had been cotton, I may have considered doing like a couple of rugs or something, but it's not. It's acrylic, guys. So give me some of your suggestions as well for maybe a household item or a different practical item for these squares as well, because I need to know what I'm going to make with them. And just overall, let me know what you think about this idea that I've had. I'm really excited that I have potentially thought of a new segment that you might all enjoy. Obviously, if you've got scraps, if you've got tiny little bonbons you want to make up, if you want to make the same squares as me, you are more than welcome to, but that is not necessary. You can just tune in and just cheer me along. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to join in. You don't have to do this. Don't feel any pressure. Just come and watch me and hang out with me while I'm doing it. That's all I'm asking you to do. But if it is something you do want to get on board with, then I will say again that I did my 5.5mm dots, a DK weight of acrylic, 4 rounds of double crochet traditional granny square. Then I did another round using half doubles on the granny, and then I did a round of singles just to border it up. So it is completely up to you guys. You let me know. You do you, but I am not forcing you to join in or do anything like that. It would just be really lovely if you could pop back every week to see what colours Max has picked, how many I'm going to be making, and just chill and chat with me while I make them with you. So yeah, that's the new segment for a Thursday. What do you reckon? I'm excited. I know it's more squares, and I know I'm probably going to have a bit of a, oh, no, I have to put them all together moment, but it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it, because like I said, I'm using up those bonbons. Max is getting involved. I'm using my metal bin for something useful as part of the channel, and I will have another crocheted something that I can use after it's made. So what's not to like? It's tick, tick, tick. Winner, winner, chicken dinner, as my kids say to me. So I'm going to get going. Let me know your opinions down below. Give me ideas for what we should call it, or should we stick with Max's choice? Let me know if you plan to join in, or if you're just going to come along for the ride and that you like the idea. Just, yeah, just give me some lovely comments to read down below. I really do love reading all of your comments. I don't reply to all of them, but I do give them a like and a heart to let you know that it has been read and that I have seen it, and I really do appreciate it. So that will be awesome to get your opinions and thoughts down there on this video too. Right, I have kept you for half an hour explaining this new segment. I look forward to coming back next Thursday with the first of Max's choices, because it's going to be a surprise to me too. All right, guys, like I said, I'm heading off. Please do have a brilliant rest of your week and a gorgeous weekend ahead. I do love you very, very much, and I will see you very, very soon. But until then, stay safe, be kind, look after one another, get some good quality time in with your loved ones, and get some good quality crafting time in. I will see you in the next one, or around the YouTube streets. Bye, guys. Love you loads.